So October is Dyslexia Awareness Month, and that is when we're filming this podcast. So we're all wearing blue and silver ribbon in support of our friends with dyslexia. Estefania, I know you have some experiences or just general description of experiences with dyslexia.
I feel like we grew up with kids our age having diagnosed dyslexia, but we never knew what that meant. We were never educated until like later years, or like even now, like at our age, I feel like people are barely starting to know that dyslexia is a learning disability. But it's weird because it emerges from the ages of 1 to 2, and it's one of the most common. So it's crazy that we wouldn't be educated in this much earlier. And Danny, I feel like you have some evidence to support this.
Yes, so pigging back onto what you said, I think it's important to let our viewers know what dyslexia is. So Margaret J. Snelling classifies dyslexia through the DSM-5 as a neurodevelopmental disorder, and it's also deemed a neurobiological disorder, which means that you do get it from one of your parents. And it's important to note too that dyslexia is it's characterized as difficulty with reading comprehension, and oftentimes children struggle with reading and writing, like I said. And dyslexia is different in children and adults. And it's important to note that adults also use maladaptive coping skills with dyslexia, because especially when they go undiagnosed, it's very hard to transition and feel so different from one stage in your life to another. They often use poor adapting skills for that reason. And Estefania, I think you have a video that you would like to share about what it looks like.
Yeah, I feel like dyslexia is a whole spectrum of how it looks to different individuals. Like the words, the letters, they appear differently to everyone. Like it's very unique to every individual. So I have a dyslexia simulators that we can try out, that we can use.
Thank you, Estefania, for the video. I think that offered great insight into what it looks like for many people with dyslexia. And I think, Oneida, you have some statistics you'd like to share about dyslexia?
Yes, I do. So did you guys know that 1 in 5 people have been diagnosed with dyslexia? Wow. And also, did you guys know my boy Einstein? He was also dyslexic, and he actually had an IQ of 160, so he was pretty smart, as you guys know. And also, we have gray matter in our brain just going around. So gray matter is supposed to be actually on our left side, and people with dyslexia have it on their right side, and which that transfers to that people that have dyslexia have hard time like processing and learning language because of that.
Wow. So you may be wondering, how does dyslexia even get diagnosed? Well, a teacher or a parent can be noticing that their child may be falling behind or struggling with learning, and they can refer them to get an evaluation from specialists. And the evaluation can be done at the school or at private practices, and from there they can see where the child is experiencing difficulties. And expert Sally E. Shaywitz states that tests of reading, spelling, language, and cognitive abilities for school-age children represent a core battery for the diagnosis of dyslexia.
So on this note, IEPs are essential in a school setting. So what they do is they provide support like extra time on test or maybe access to audiobooks, so that children with dyslexia have the same opportunities as other children.
And it is important to know that before getting an evaluation for dyslexia, to rule out any other medical conditions such as ADHD or anxiety.
So good news, there are effective treatments for those with dyslexia. So the first thing to remember is that dyslexia is a lifelong condition. But with the right support, people with dyslexia can thrive. So the most effective approach is structured literacy instruction. So this approach focuses on breaking down language into smaller parts, helping individuals connect, and understand letters and sounds. The second key approach is multisensory techniques, which engages multiple senses such as sight, hearing, and touch. For example, a student might use their fingers to trace their letters and simultaneously saying the sounds. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important that they use multisensory techniques when approaching dyslexia, because we know that learning is such a holistic thing and it requires more than just your eyes and your mouth to be able to learn, so I think that's really cool. With that, as Jimena said, dyslexia is a condition that is pervasive throughout your life. You never get rid of it, you learn how to cope, and hopefully you learn how to cope healthily. And this is why parents need to intervene as early as possible. It's super important for parents to just acknowledge and be attentive to their children's attitudes towards reading, towards writing, towards even speaking and understanding and recall and those types of things, because children with dyslexia exhibit higher rates of depression than those without. And so parental and guardian support is just the basis and the foundation of living with dyslexia and what your attitudes are towards it. So I have a few tips on what parents can do to help their children cope, and that one is celebrating every success and playing towards your child's strengths. And I think it's really important to just acknowledge that your child might not be good at reading, but they could be really good at art, they could be really good at math. And so rewarding them for the things that they're good at gives them the confidence to try things that they're not good at. And I think another thing that's really important is being honest with your kids. And Oneida, you have a daughter, and you know that it's really important, one, to not lie to your kids, but two, to just be really transparent, and especially when they have a condition that is pervasive and is lifelong, just to say like, hey, it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard, but I'm here to support you, and we're going to get through this. And then also to have fun, because kids require fun. Kids need to let off their steam. Kids need to just enjoy their life. And I think when you're trying to combat something so, again, pervasive, you need to just make it enjoyable for the kids.
I agree. Shan, I think it was really important how you went into depth about the importance of having a support system, especially with a child with dyslexia. As it is, their world is flipped, reversed. I mean, they're navigating the world through a different lens, and I think it's very important to have resources and community outreach for children and parents just trying to navigate dyslexia. So, Estefania, I think you have information about that?
Yeah, actually, this Sunday, October 8th, the El Paso Foundation is hosting a comedy benefit night. All funds and proceeds go to the Students for Dyslexia. And I just think that's such a good opportunity to like go out there and like support them and educate yourself on the topic. Yeah. And I just thought like that was an interesting thing for us as students to go and support.
Yes, I agree.
So cool. Yeah, that's so cool. So we know dyslexia is lifelong, and dyslexia probably sucks. I don't know. I don't have it. But it's important to remember that there is success found at the end of the tunnel. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not something that should define us or those with dyslexia or parents with kids with dyslexia. And actually, there's a lot of really successful entrepreneurs and business owners who have dyslexia that studies show are way more successful than those that do have dyslexia or don't have dyslexia. There's also a lot of celebrities and public figures that have had dyslexia, and they do not let it define what they do. This includes Keira Knightley, Bella Thorne, and Thomas Edison, just to name a few. And here's a clip from Disney Channel star Bella Thorne speaking about her trouble with dyslexia.
My name is Bella Thorne, and this is the story of the time I found out I have dyslexia. I remember when I started first grade. Right away, it was awful because I couldn't read as well as the other kids. My brain mixed up letters like B and D and M and W. Dyslexia is different for everyone who has it. For me, it just makes it harder to read or write. I started working really hard on how to read better. My family helped me by making me read everything, from menus to cereal boxes to road signs. Today, I read a year above my grade level, and I learned to face problems, not run away from them. Dyslexia makes things hard for me, but not impossible.
Dyslexia might seem like an uphill battle, but any progress is good progress. It's important to hold on to hope. And life is, as the quote goes, your future is created by what you do today and not tomorrow. And so with that, we say bye, and we'll see you soon.